What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Bit of Footy YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be running through my round 14 tips for the 2025 AFL Premiership season. Now, yes, I am late to my tipping video this round, but I'd rather get one out than not because we are on a hot streak. We haven't missed a tipping video this year, and I don't want to start now. So yeah, we're going to be running through my round 14 tips for this round. Now, before we do that, let's take a look and see how I did back in round number 13. All right, as you can see in round number 13, I got 6 out of 8 tips correct, so I actually did pretty well. The only tips that I got incorrect were the Dogs tip. Really thought the Dogs were going to win considering the form that Hawthorn were in coming into this game, but Hawthorn were the better side on the night and got the job done by a margin of 22 points. And the other tip I got incorrect, well, this is when I was filming for Pat at the Div 12 Rezzies game. The Giants lost to Port Adelaide by 16 points. Really don't know what the Giants are doing this season. They seem to have good wins here and then bad losses there. I mean, they beat the Cats at the Cattery and then they lose to the Power, who are normally pretty average away from home. So very confusing how the Giants are going this year. But yeah, those are the only tips that I got incorrect. Besides that, I got every other tip correct in round number 13. Having a look at where that puts me in my own tipping comp, I'm currently 18th. I've moved up to 18th spot. I swear, only a few rounds ago I was like 23rd, 24th-ish. Now I'm 18th. Am I making a comeback? Probably not. Because in first spot, we've got Mr. Ray White again, who got 6 out of 8 tips last round and is on a total score of 83 points while I'm on a total score of 70. So, yeah, there you go. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's take a look and see what my tips are for round number 14. Yes, round number 14 of the 2025 AFL Premiership season. Alright, so we're not going to kick it off with the Thursday night game because I was late to the party, but I did in fact tip the Dogs to win by a margin of 33 points. Oh, sorry, 35 points. You can even see it on my ESPN footy tips right here. But yeah, so technically I got that tip correct. Didn't get the margin, but got the tip correct. So we're going to start from tonight, the Friday night game between Hawthorn and the Adelaide Crows. Hawthorn are coming off a win last round against the Western Bulldogs. The Crows are coming off an exhilarating win over the Brisbane Lions. I was actually at that game. It was raining here and there at the Adelaide Oval, but it was a good game nonetheless. And the Crows got up. Normally, when I go to the Adelaide Oval and watch an Adelaide game, they get done. But this time they got up against the Lions. So yeah, this should be a ripping game. You know, the Hawks, they got back into form last week, or last round after their win over the Dogs. The Crows, they've had 2 consistent good wins against decent sides as well. In fact, they've beaten both of last year's grand finalists as well. So they're in some good form at the moment. This should be a ripping game. It's down in Tassie. Hawthorn always play good down in Tassie. But I feel like the way that the Crows are going, they should win this game, and I'm going to back them in to do so. They're playing some good footy. Their forward line is scary. Their midfield, when it gets going, is scary as well. And Jordan Dawson, he's just terrific. I reckon he single-handedly won them the game last round, John Dawson, in that last quarter. He was phenomenal. I'm going to be backing in the Crows in this game over Hawthorn by a margin of 7 points. I still feel like it'll be a close one. I feel like Hawthorn will take it up to the Crows for the entirety, but the Crows will get over the line in the last quarter. All right, then we move on to the Saturday games, and we kick it off at the Gabba for what should be a ripper between the Lions and the Giants. The Lions, they're coming off that loss to the Crows. The Giants, they're coming off that very confusing loss to Port Adelaide. Like I said before, really don't know where the Giants are at this season. I started off saying that they're probably one of the likely contenders to win the flag, but at the moment, they're a bit 50-50, the Giants. They lost to the Dockers. Now they lost to Port Adelaide last round. I really don't know what's going on with the Giants. I really thought after they beat the Cats that they would have, really gotten their season in order, beaten the Dockers, beaten the Power, but that didn't happen. So yeah, very confusing to me. The Lions, they've been decent this season. They've been sort of 50-50. They only lost to the Crows at the Adelaide Oval by 5 points. So yeah, I do feel like the Lions should be winning this game at home, even though I think the Giants have a decent record at the Gabba against the Lions in their past few games. So I'm still going to be backing in the Lions. I just feel like they've been playing better than the Giants this season. So yeah, I'm going to be backing in the Lions by a margin of 15 points over the Giants. Then we move on to the Bombers taking on the Cats at the MCG. The Bombers coming off that 8-point loss to the hands of the Blues last round. The Cats are coming off a win over the Suns by a margin of 24 at GMHBA. Not much to say about this game. I do think the Cats will be getting the job done in this one. The Bombers, they've been sort of weird the last 2 games. They got done in their first quarters against the Lions and the Blues, but then they gradually came back in both of those games, but then couldn't get over the line. So maybe that will happen in this game again. I'm not too sure. They were competitive, but yeah, I feel like the Cats should be winning. They're in some good form. They're a danger this season, I'll tell you that much. So I'm going to be backing in Geelong by a margin of 26 points over the Bombers at the MCG. And then we move on to the last game on the Saturday. We've got North Melbourne taking on Freo at Marvel. Just kidding, at Optus Stadium. Yep, North Melbourne hosting a game against Freo at Optus Stadium. Why not? Very confusing, very weird. North Melbourne, they're coming off a win over the Eagles last round in a game that we should probably all forget about. And the Dockers, they're coming off a bye, so they're feeling fresh coming into this game. I do feel like it's going to be a very weird and wacky game. I feel like North Melbourne are going to be really competitive in this game for some weird reason. But I still feel like the Dockers will get over the line in this one. So I'm going to tip the Dockers in this one by a fair even margin of 20 points over North Melbourne. Then we move on to the last 2 games of the round. They are both on Sunday, and we kick it off at the Adelaide Oval for a 3:20 game. It's Port Adelaide taking on Melbourne. Port Adelaide, they're coming off that 16-point win over the Giants, weirdly enough, and Melbourne, they're coming off a 1-point loss to the hands of my Pies on King's birthday. I feel like this will be a decent contested game. Not sure what the weather's going to be in Adelaide. But yeah, I still feel like it's going to be very contested. Melbourne, they played their heart and soul against us. Probably didn't get the rub of the green, I will admit. So yeah, they're coming into this game, yes, off the back of a 1-point loss, but you know, they played really well against us, and that should bring a lot of confidence into that side. And Port Adelaide, well, they're coming off a 16-point win over the Giants, who I really thought would be flag contenders, but now I'm not sure where they're at this season. So yeah, that will bring a lot of confidence for Port Adelaide coming into this game. It's at the Adelaide Oval, but I still feel like Melbourne will win. I just feel like Melbourne will win this game. They don't play bad at the Adelaide Oval. And yes, Port Adelaide beat the Giants, but I still feel like they're immune to losing these types of games. Well, not immune, but prone to losing these types of games. So yeah, I'm going to be backing in Melbourne in this one over the Power by a margin of 14 points in this game. And the last game of the round, really don't have to speak about this one that much either. We've got West Coast taking on Carlton. West Coast, they're coming off a loss to the hands of North Melbourne. Carlton, they're coming off an 8-point win against the Bombers. Jesus, the Blues, they were a little bit shaky towards the end of that game against the Bombers. I was driving back from Adelaide, and I was listening to the game, and Jesus, the Bombers really made a run at them, but the Blues held on in the end by a margin of 8. But I feel like they're going to win this game, and by a bigger margin. I do feel like, you know, the Eagles, they've been competitive in their last few. They were majorly competitive last round against North Melbourne. Probably should have won that game if they were a little bit more accurate. Inaccuracy kills. But yeah, I don't feel like they're going to win this game. I do think they'll be competitive at home. You know, they've really upped their competitiveness their last few games, but I still feel like the Blues will be too good and get the job done by a margin of 38 points over the Eagles. But yeah, those are my tips done and dusted for round number 14. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. There'll be no match day vlog because the Pies aren't playing this round. No, but we need a rest, seriously. I'll try to do like a live stream for one of these games, maybe the Brisbane Giants game or the Essendon Cats game. I'll see how I go. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you for another one sooner or later. Cheers.